I've played WarThunder for almost 10 years. Oh, with over 800 videos, exactly a month from today, I become a 10-year veteran. Quick, the gunner's still there, gunner's still active, yes, come on, yes, got him! So join me as we explore some of my favourite vehicles WarThunder has to offer. What? Where'd you come from, you absolute bellend? I'm in a 1930s bomber! Buy my decal. G'day, I'm Ash, welcome back to episode 4 of my adventures as I'm getting towards my 10-year anniversary for this game. Taking a look at some more event vehicles, we're taking a look at the Spitfire Mk.IXc. Essentially it was given out per a 100th anniversary of the Royal Air Force back in 2018. And essentially it was a tournament, it was I believe it was a 9 versus 9 event. The first pilot who scores 5 shootdowns essentially got the coupon for the vehicle. Now, it is armed with a 38mm bulletproof glass panel up front and a bunch of other armament. It's got a nice engine which does most of the heavy lifting. What you've got here is an aircraft that is incredibly versatile. Basically, it's a premium rank 3 British fighter with a battle rating of 4.7 in realistic and sim. It was introduced in update 1.77 back in 2018. And it has probably one of the most impressive armaments out of the Spitfires, particularly Mark II Hispanos, which are 20mm cannons, with 120 rounds per gun with 480 total, which again is quite nice. It can also equip a 250-pound bomb. Mind you, you wouldn't necessarily do that. And the decal you see on the side of the vehicle was given out per the event, which is not the actual roundel. Anyway, first thing to note with Spitfires is you don't necessarily go head-on. It goes the same for any aircraft. But I guess that was just a test flight. Moving on, we've climbed up to about a decent altitude here, and there is a 109 and an XP50 and several other things out in the distance. It should be noted that these guns are purely on this machine, just shotguns, hence what I'm probably going to call the title of this video. They are incredibly powerful when they do hit, but it's a matter of hitting, and sometimes you do get sparks. Right, 109 gets hit by Elder there. I accidentally ripped my flaps coming back in. We're going to give him a rat-a-tat. Dagger, 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 dagger. Another couple of hits on him. We do set something on fire briefly for a couple of seconds there, and then finally dies. Moving on, we have a Yak 9 and a Yak 3. These are two very potential enemies and adversaries which you don't necessarily want to catch on your tail. Although you can outmaneuver them, the chances are you're probably going to end up dead because this thing is quite heavy once it loses a lot of speed. Again, one of the cons of having more armament, particularly when it comes to double the firepower of most other Spitfires. Because good ammunition pool means 120 rounds per gun, which means, you know, comparatively to the 60 round of most of your Spitfire predecessors, means you can deal with any threat with ease. A very good low altitude performance means you chase things basically onto the deck without worry, although very good at boom and zooming, and you've also got to keep in mind that the fuel injectors will not shut off during quick negative G maneuvers. Its poor acceleration and rate of climb at higher altitude does impact this machine though when you're going up against D13s and XP50s for example. It does have mediocre energy retention in very, very sharp turns, and the Hispanos will overheat and jam quickly if you can't have a little bit of trigger discipline. Now, any sort of damage you take to this machine will result in either a leak in the cooling system that can cripple the engine in minutes. Its light airframe is particularly not so durable. Hopefully Elder gets the kill on that Yak 3 so I get the kill assist. And there it is. Right, on to the next match. Now, this machine is really cool. It's one of my favourite looking aircraft. As I said, you've got a 250-pound bomb if you really want to use this in ground forces. And I suppose you could put ground belts on the 20mm, although I don't necessarily know if they'll do anything. It doesn't get combat flaps or takeoff flaps. It does have landing flaps. And the top speed of this thing is 642 kilometers an hour. I have no idea what that Focke-Wulf 190 and that J2M were doing, but they have seemed to commenced an engagement protocol which is called explosive diarrhea. Moving on. we're on one of those maps that has the airfields within 8-kilometer range and distance of each other. And this is incredibly funky because what you have here is, well, a map that is really well designed, but also really poorly designed at the same time. So if you have a high climb rate and a really fast energy retention, and you can climb really well at a decent speed, then this is the map for you, because that blob of enemies right there will disintegrate you if you're not paying attention. Although a bunch of fun. I guess furballs are a bunch of fun. We're going to see a little bit of that over the next coming days, but what we have here is a furball on the left-hand side. We've got a Yak-9 and an F8F followed by the rest of his team. So we're going to go and try and engage with the F8F as we've already got him selected. The Yak-9 really wants a bead on me. So it looks like the F8F is going to try and chase the friendly 109. The Yak will get a tiny bit of a hit on me just in a second here as I'm trying to chase the F8F. There it is, a little bit of a hit on the left wing and a bunch of the elevator, which means this thing is almost uncontrollable. Keep a good couple of daggers towards the F8F. There was a P47 that I could have easily gotten there and nearly head on. It's an A21 Swedish fighter coming through the ranks here. Yak-9's turned back around. The A21 is also trying to get in with this dogfight. It's an utter furball, and I need to check my 6 because, well, there was a bunch of aircraft. It seems like things are falling out the sky, catching on fire, and absolutely dying everywhere. It's one of those wonderful things about furballs. You never know whether you're going to die or the enemies are going to die. Anyway, the aircraft that was just chasing me manages to not kill me. Quite lucky there. And we take out the A21 with ease. Next is the P47. We're going to pull up directly after him. Not quite. I can't use combat flaps because there is no real use for the flaps in this thing. And we're going to give him a couple of bursts of 20 mil. What a fantastic sort of bit of damage. Well, it's not all over, Red Rover. The 109G is coming into play. Unfortunately, I'm too low of an energy. Like I said before, if you get into too low energy, this thing does turn particularly poorly. So it would be nice to really keep the speed up, but I guess it's not an option when you're trying to survive. And Elder takes one for the team. Rest in peace, Elder. Ah, man. It was good having a teammate like that, but now is the time to really focus on returning to base. And the airfield's right there, and I really do need a new airframe. But there is a J26 up there. What do we got to worry about here? They aren't the Swedish 50 caliber guns. It's just a regular P51, although he does have a higher volume and a higher fire rate. Really only put a critical hit. I was lucky enough not to die there. So we're just going to say farewell and have a mutual sort of party. And I'm just going to go back to the airfield because I really need repairs now. Oh, P47 up in the distance. Which is basically destroying, and he's crashed. There was a couple of other aircraft, a 109 and then that J26. That's all that's left. So, I'm going to land. The 109 now died, and so is the Yak-9. That just leaves and even the I-25 is also down as well. That just leaves that J26 that we saw earlier. Just going to fang this thing in and just casually get down. Again, it's a very gentle aircraft, but also a very aggressive one at the same time. Anyway, taking back off, again, we've climbed a little bit. We're just airworld emergency powering towards this J26. 109 is trying to get a bead on that J26, but unfortunately he plows into the ground, getting shot down by AAA. That is what it is when you're just over an airfield. I'm going to do something incredibly stupid here, and you know what I'm going to go do. It's time to head on and potentially kill the J26 here. You know what I said about not going head on with things? Well, that was important. Had I stayed alive even for the next couple of minutes, would have died anyway to AAA. That's the 4th kill. And that is the Spitfire F Mk.IXc. Definitely one of my little favourite aircraft that I like to fly every now and then, and I wish it would come back as an event vehicle. Anyway, what do you think of this particular vehicle? Do you enjoy it? And more importantly, thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe and all that good stuff. As well, there's going to be more of content where this came from. So if there's a vehicle you want me to cover or showcase, let me know in the comments down below. And more importantly, I have better luck than me trying to fly this machine, because it is a heavy bastard. And with that, I'm Ash. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.